ridicule code. Your curiosity quest starts here.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the QCO podcast. And forgive my voice.
Losing your voice right in the middle of that introduction.
I was trying to
totally fine.
Tried to clear my throat before, and during the 10 seconds of silence, I could feel it just gurgling. My apologies. I may not have the best voice for today, but it does make me sound suave.
Like the shampoo
and debonair. I always have to combine those two.
So, yes, thank you, everyone, for listening. Danny, Travis, and Alan here to provide you with some good topics today. We've got a couple
more
of them.
vital information for your everyday life.
Yes.
What's that from, Trav? What? Trav doesn't know pop culture reference?
I may know it, but the way that maybe you are presenting it is stupid.
It's from This Is All That. This is all that.
The Nickelodeon
I know.
show?
Okay, you can't.
That's pop
You can't
culture?
get it is, but you can't get upset that. I mean, where can you find this? All that available. I mean, I guess maybe on YouTube, but I don't go to YouTube and just sit there and watch all that reruns.
Actually, surprisingly, I didn't know this, but apparently they still do all that. It's still on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
because my kids were watching it the other day.
Really?
On Nickelodeon.
Are you sure they're not just reruns?
Yeah, it was like a whole new cast, like all new kids.
Well, I'd hope it's an all new cast. Because Amanda Bynes
30.
has gone through rehab like a million times. Keenan is on Saturday Night Live, and
Whatever happened to Kel? I liked Kel.
yeah, he pops up every once in a while, but only when he has to just be that character from Good Burger. So anyway, we got a couple of.
He made me like orange soda.
Yes,
Just a little bit.
He loves. Is it orange? Yeah, it is orange soda.
Something like that. Yeah.
So today we're going to be giving you giving you some tips about dating, and I don't know how good that is going to be, but we just figured
We're claiming them as tips, but we didn't say they were good tips
they're just tips.
or bad tips. They're just tips.
But before we get to that, we do have a quick question for today, and the question is: would you rather be a male model, a top-tier athlete, or a genius? Now, I have my answer. It's a pretty quick answer, but it looks like on our layout here that you have some pretty stereotypical features
Yeah, definitions
about
of them.
definitions
So
of each.
before we recorded this, Alan was a bit concerned that this would be an offensive topic. I told Trav the other day that if anyone would be offended, it would be myself, since I sport all three of these features just naturally.
Why would it be offensive?
So, but it just in case it is, well, because we're stereotyping, but in case it is, I wrote a little disclosure. Here it goes. In doing this thought experiment, we are in no way insinuating that all male models are dumb, or athletes that are all athletes are ugly, or that all geniuses are uncoordinated. This is just a superficial typecast for this discussion. I, for one, happen to be all three, so I know it's possible. Thank you.
Stupid.
You're all three dumb, ugly, and uncoordinated.
Oh,
Yeah.
that backfired. I should have been more clear.
High five.
So basically, in this to answer this question, I just put, because obviously everyone can be a mixture of things. They're not all just one way or another. So but we're trying to make it super, just like three completely different things for this question. So to be a male model, you're super good looking, but you're uncoordinated and you're dumb. If you're a top tier athlete, you're super coordinated, but you're ugly and you're dumb. If you're a genius, you're super smart, but you're ugly and you're uncoordinated. Okay? So, knowing that, who wants to go first?
All right. Well, I don't think it changes my mind much.
So does that mean you want to go first, or?
I can. So, yeah, my original thought and still
All right,
my current thought.
Before you go, then I'm going to read you some pros and cons. Actually, tell me which one you would go with. I'll read you some pros and cons.
This
and
is
then you tell me if you would go with it.
Okay, wait. So I have to tell you what I'm thinking now.
Yeah, and then we'll see if you change your mind.
Okay, it's athlete.
Okay. I actually kind of thought you would go with athlete on that one. That was my number one guess for Trav. So pros that I thought of, but you obviously can have more pros if you think of them and or cons. But the pros I thought of in the definition that we have for athlete is you would earn a lot of money, potentially. You would have potential access to lots of women just because women seem to like athletes. Fame.
But I'm ugly.
Yeah,
But
when
that
I
doesn't
think-
seem to
when I
hinder
think
a lot of
athlete-
athletes.
when I think athlete, I don't think ugly.
Well,
Like,
I know,
I tend
but
to think athletes are relatively good.
I'm not
They're in
saying
shape.
that athletes, but like I'm saying for the case of this thought experiment, you're really fit and you have a nice body, if you want to say it that way.
I'm fine being a butterface.
But you're a butterface.
A brown bagger.
Sure.
Like Blake Griffin, I'm sure he gets tons of women.
Are you judging Blake Griffin's
I'm
looks?
I don't know. I can't really judge a man.
Let's say
but if I could.
I will say Andrew Luck. He never really did it for me.
You don't dig the neared?
Other pros are access to high-profile parties and events. Very healthy and in good shape, obviously, so you don't have to worry about that. Constantly surrounded by teammates, so you have camaraderie. Cons, high injury risk, a lack of understanding of the world around you outside of your sport, and you probably have a short career because every athlete, compared to like other careers.
Well, we kind of talked about this last week in our main topic, and yeah, I might have a short career, but I'm going to have tons of money to go along with it. So I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to have a chiseled bod. Sure, maybe I might have a fugly face, but you know what? Don't matter because
you won't even really know that.
it doesn't even matter. If girls are chasing me anyway, it doesn't matter if I'm ugly, right? So
That's true. That's quite the
so
conundrum.
I think I'm just going to stick with athlete.
Okay. Alan, how about you? What'd you pick?
This is funny to me how the only thing athletes have going for them is coordinated. that's the one thing you chose to give them. Just- I don't care what you say about him, but man, can he just take care of those
Man, can
hands.
he walk without
he can,
tripping?
Yeah. He can text and walk at the
He
same
can
time, man.
tap his head and rub his belly at the same time.
So
are you literally just watching a football game over there while we're trying to record a podcast?
Yep. I have it on in the background. It's over now, but I would go with genius, probably, because what's my number one goal that we all know about?
To leave this world by any means possible.
Yep.
Okay, so what if I told you that your pros of being a genius would be you put your mind to it and you can accomplish anything because you're smart. The world of knowledge is your oyster. I don't know why I put it that way.
What if I hate oysters?
View things from a much more fulfilling, philosophical, and deep perspective, and you can solve many problems. Cons, you could be lonely, socially awkward, you'd have a lack of women, prone to be bullied, and have low self-esteem.
But if you're a genius, like a lot of geniuses make a lot of money, and with that comes a lot of women.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with that comes a lot of responsibility.
With tons of money comes great responsibility.
money can buy happiness. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be lonely. I could just hire an entourage.
I do have an opinion that the people who say money can't buy happiness have it. So when you talk to somebody who doesn't have it, the money, I mean, you know, give me some of your money, and I will tell you if it buys me happiness.
You'll
Yeah.
you'll do the experiment
Yeah.
for them. You'll be the subject.
Yeah, let's do
Like,
the
I'm
scientific
poor.
method. We'll do
Like,
the
right-
trial and error.
My
Like,
control,
nope, still not happy. Give me more.
because in this experiment, you would be the control, which is poor and unhappy. And
Let's
then-
yes.
and
Let's see
so
what
if they
happens.
give you money and you become happy. That's pretty good
Like,
evidence.
Let's see what happens when we give this man, this poor, sad man, $100 bill. Bing. He smiled. Money does buy happiness.
I've never seen somebody win $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and just be like, I want to kill myself.
Oh no.
Not again.
Become the robot on what's that? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Well, we all know Trav hates that movie.
I just thought it was boring.
It's like one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you? Oh, you guys.
Did you talk to your cousin yet?
No.
Because you're supposed to ask him if it's a good movie. Because he's a
Okay, Marcus, I know you listen to this every once in a while. So if you are listening to this episode, do you like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Because
Or you can
apparently
ask your
this
cousin
is one
that has
of
a podcast that they talk about movies. Is who I'm
Oh,
referring
Joe.
to. You just
Joe.
pick a random.
Well, you say cousin, and I go to my closest cousins
That is
that
true.
I see
Skylar and
more.
Marcus.
But yeah, you guys have there's very few movies that your go-to movies, and I've learned that it's Independence Day, Demolition Man, apparently Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I'll just throw in there Dumb and Dumber. I'll give you kudos for that one, but.
See, 1 out of 4 ain't bad.
Okay, so he'll be a genius, or he'd be a genius. I'd be an athlete.
But if you look at it this way, like Batman, what makes him such a good superhero? He has money, and what's the name of the guy that makes all of his gadgets?
Alfred.
Alfred does all those?
I don't know. Oh, you mean
The guy that works for
Who's
his
the
company.
Morgan Freeman guy?
just say Morgan Freeman,
Yeah, like
because I can't remember his name at the moment.
He's
just
a
like in
genius.
charge of R&D at the company.
yeah, it's R&D geniuses that make Batman possible. Without his R&D department, what would he be?
It's true.
All the top villains that are like super hard for heroes to get rid of.
So you're
are-
fine just making the gadgets
geniuses.
for Batman instead of being Batman.
Probably. Yeah.
All right. I'm just kidding.
That would be
Lame.
that'd be an awesome job.
Stupid.
So since you guys went with
Inventing the Batmobile.
athlete and Alan went with genius, for sake of this conversation, I'll default to male model. So what I put for pros for a male model, and you guys add to this if you have any others, but
Lucius Fox. Sorry. I had to look it up. It was driving
yeah.
me crazy. Okay, continue.
is looks can take you further than you think. You can get girls, lots of girls. That's pro one. Probably get free swag.
So are you being a male model? Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
just saying for devil's advocate's sake. Free swag, access to high profile parties and events, so I can see you there, Trav, because I will also be famous. And I'll be more socially inept and not inept. More
Yeah, you'll be
social
social-
and confident.
You'll definitely be socially inept.
More social and confident. Cons would be I can't turn left. My friends will get in gasoline fights.
You are so stupid. Okay, we'll throw Zoolander on there.
Life would be very shallow and superficial, and I would have a lack of understanding of the world around me because I'd be dumb.
Yep.
But that's not really what I would be. That's the third option. I would
But you
also
could
probably
say
choose to be
he's
a
gonna
genius.
genius.
You could say, you know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
That's true.
Men in
But
Black.
that's if That's if I had the capacity.
We're building our.
If I had the
repertoire.
capacity to remember that line. So. Okay, so knowing all that, do you guys have any pros or cons to add to any of those, and or would
So
you
basically,
switch
male models.
your choice?
You're saying male models are just goldfish. Like, their memories last 5 seconds.
Pretty much.
What did those women in white say? Men in black say?
So would you guys change or would you stay?
No, I'm fine with where I am.
Okay.
I'm good.
Trav would be an athlete, Alan would be genius, and I would be all of the above. Specifically meaning male model, athlete, genius.
Okay. All right.
But no, if I had to pick one, it'd be genius, I guess, because I could probably learn how to do plastic surgery and fix my face.
While, like, on yourself?
Because I'd be so smart.
I'm going to throw another one out there, another movie. That would just turn into a whole face-off situation.
Face off.
Basically anything past, like, 96. They can't really.
The one line I always remember from that is when he's practicing his new voice and he's like, "Peach, I could eat a peach for hours.
I could eat a peach for hours." We always just do the thing where I drag my fingers down like my son's face and I go, "Michael."
He's just like, "What?
Yeah.
Who's Michael?"
Yeah. My son is very confused when I do that. So, all right. Well, let's move on to our main topic. Yeah.
Trav's
You're going to
puberty again.
It's reminded me of when I started dating. So, yep, our main topic, dating tips for real life scenarios. Is that what his little blurb here is? Guy likes girl. Girl likes guys. What more do you need to know?
Oh yeah, that should have just been girl likes guy.
Yeah, I know, but you have a hard time with writing
I guess that could make it really complicated. It's like guy
and
likes
Eng-
girl, girl likes guys.
and English. But let's go ahead and get going.
I like you a lot.
That sounded so bad.
I want to ask you a question straight out, flat
Pretty sure
out. I want you to give me an
started
honest
further
answer.
along. But
What do you think the chances are of a guy like you and a girl like me ending up together?
Well, Lloyd, that's difficult to say. We really don't.
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight. I came a long way just to see you married. Just least you can do is level with me. What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Yeah, I think
when you don't actually get to watch it on screen, like that pause between when she says more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
it's like so
It's forever.
long. And then at the very beginning, all you hear is just heavy breathing. It's like, all right, we're going to give you guys some dating tips. And then you just hear like, so anyway, all right, I know I have a few that I have prepared. Danny has a few. Alan had, did you say 1 or 2 that you had? So did you want to start, Dan? Or did you want me to start?
Let's start with you, and then it'll go me, and then Alan, and then we'll go back to you in a round robin.
All right. So basically the kind of way that we've done this, at least this is how I think that we've done this, is that we have a tip for you, but it's based off of either, well, our personal experiences, and a couple of mine are experiences that I witnessed. So most of them I was a part of.
I mean, it's not like it was a hard and fast rule, and it's not like I couldn't have figured this out, but the way that I took it, because this was a good idea, a great idea. I thought it would be very entertaining that Trav came up with, but I took it so literally in the fact that I thought it just had to be your own experiences. So
You take everything so
I know.
literal.
You should know this by now.
And then it like, or you, no, okay. You know, I take that back. You just, whatever I say, you do the exact opposite. Because last week I was super literal. What is the grossest food you've ever eaten? And you had to be like, well, like gross to society? And here so here I am. I'm kind of, I did not specify when I was telling you my idea, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's on me.
Yeah.
But the way I took it, and for whatever reason, and it's fine. It's
Well,
not like I had a hard time. I have plenty of.
you'll see when I
tips,
get there.
but
It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, all right. Dating tip number 1: always remember your date's name. So you're probably wondering what happened to me.
What happened, Trav? I'm assuming there's a story behind this.
So I was 21, and Trav Mydell, who we all met a few episodes ago, he was dating his future wife, who is his wife now, Tia, and she was going to BYU, Idaho, and she told Trav was going to go up and visit her for the weekend, and she said, well, hey, why don't you bring Trav and Steve, your guys' brother, just in case anybody doesn't know who that is. I know you guys know who your brother is, but who? Steve Barnes, and a couple of other friends. And she's like, I'll round up some girls and we'll all just go out on a group date. And I was like, sure, this sounds great. So we make the trip. We drive 4 hours or so up
To
there
BYU, Idaho?
to BYU, Idaho. And I guess the day of, so we got up there. I don't even remember where we spent the night, but we were somewhere. We couldn't spend the night in their dorms, so
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'd be a big no-no.
Yep.
Especially at BYU.
Yep, exactly. So I don't remember exactly where we spent the night, but the next day, apparently my date had to leave and go back to wherever she was from, just back to her family. Something happened; she had to leave, so they ended up getting.
Say it like she was being like exported out of the country. She had to go back to like whatever
She
third world
was-
country she was from.
No, I don't know. I never met her. I never saw her. I don't know her name, so I don't know. But all I was told was just that your original date couldn't make it, but I found you somebody else. Okay, not a big deal to me because I don't know what the other one looked like anyway. So
For all you know, it
Yep.
could be an upgrade.
bring it on. And so, we meet all of our dates. And when I get nervous, and now I'm finding out that this isn't just when I get nervous, it's just when I first meet people. I will literally immediately forget your name, just right off the bat. So they introduce me.
I think I know what you're like or what that's like because I think sometimes you're so focused on like maybe not being like awkward in a situation or for whatever reason you're like all your attention is really spent somewhere else. But they're like you're going through the motions because you have to.
All your attention is spent on what am I doing? How am I looking right now?
Yeah.
It's self-centered.
Well, even
right?
even now, sometimes I meet people and then I'm like, what was their name? Oh, crap.
That's what I'm saying though. But because
Yeah.
you can autopilot through like. 'Cause
Well,
you've
that's what
met
it is,
enough
because,
people,
like,
'cause
you
you're
just-
like you know how to meet them.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, what's your name? Or they tell you your name, and you're like, oh yeah, da, da, da. And then like you're like, shoot,
Just go on,
I did
and
not
then
remember
you
what
don't
you just
spend enough time actually remembering their name. Like all I have to do is just repeat it once in my head, and I'll get it. It's just like, oh, they tell me their name. Like, my name is Sarah. Okay, then we talk about something else, and I'm like,
I thought
crap.
right there you're gonna be like, my name is Jeff.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that. My name is Jeff. So.
D nice.
Nice. But anyway, so they introduced me. She told me her name. Completely forgot it. And I didn't realize I didn't remember it or didn't know it until we were probably about an hour or so into the date. Because up till that point, I hadn't needed to say her name.
That's where you default to the hey you.
Well, no. So I went as long as I could without saying her name. Like, if I wanted to talk to her, like, I would look at her and, like, as soon as she caught my eye, then I would, like, tell her something. Because I'm like, all right, I've got her attention. So we went to dinner. I think we went to Wingers. I don't know. There's probably wasn't a lot of places then. I don't know.
By BYU, Idaho.
BYU, Idaho. So we went to Wingers. And then we went back and just played some board games at their dorms. And I remember this is the moment that I couldn't get away from it. And it was her turn. And just, I turn and I go to say, it's your turn, whatever your name is. And I kind of pause. I'm like, crap, I don't know her name. Like, what am I going to call her? The only thing I knew about her was that she was an English major. So I go, it's your turn, English major. And even when, like, because her apartment or whatever was just down the way in the same complex, and so I just walked her there and then gave her a hug, and I was like, I had fun. Later, and still to this day, I even asked Tia. I've asked her several times, like, do you remember what that girl's name was? She says, I have no clue. I'm like, nobody knows this girl's name. Did the date even happen? But anyway, it's good. I mean, obviously that didn't work out.
So what if you get a new employee next week and they're like filling out their application and you're like looking at it and it's like her first name's English, last name major.
It's like, what is this? No, probably not.
You should have been more creative though, Trav. I mean, that was pretty creative, but you could have been like, whose turn is it? And then point at this girl.
Who's got two thumbs and it's her turn? You. So
wait, sorry, you were bowling?
No.
Or what were you doing?
We were playing board games.
Board game.
Where do you go
I know.
during these conversations? Like
Probably the same place we all go, or where I go, where I forget people's names.
That's probably
So,
true. So, like, physically he's here, but somehow he's bowling was never mentioned.
I think I was just thinking about like some of my dates.
so yeah. I mean, obviously it didn't matter. It's not like she was the one. I will tell you that I did briefly.
She could have.
Had you remembered I'm okay. She wasn't the one. But I did, when I went to introduce my wife, my now wife, back then it was like our second date. I went to introduce her to somebody, and for a split second, I forgot her name. Like, I knew her name, but Quincy is just kind of like you think that would be something that would stick, right?
No,
but
that happens to me all the time.
But I'm like, oh crap, like I didn't want to say it wrong or do something, so I just kind of paused. But it was a long enough pause that she was like, Quincy, my name's Quincy, and I was like, shoot.
But that happens to me all the time at work, because like I have to call people for our doctors in the ER and get them on the phone. And so a lot of the times when I call, like, I know all the doctors' names. Like, I know them pretty well. But I'll call and be like, hey, this is Alan over at yada, yada, yada. I'm calling Dr. And then I fumble for a few seconds. I'm like, who's our doctor's name? And they're right behind me. Like, their doctor's office is right behind me. They can hear me.
So you're able to recover like about 50% of the time? Because fumbling is just completely random.
Good heavens, Daniel.
So I'll be like, Dr. Van Giegel. Van Giegel, that's what it is.
No, I get that. So, all right. So just make sure that, you never know. So make sure you remember
They always
their
say
names.
that to remember somebody's name, you have to just you take their name and then you look at them and you find a feature about them that you can somehow tie to something that you won't forget.
It's like on the House Bunny, if you guys have ever seen that. Her way of learning their name. She's like, Jessica. Joanne. So anyway. All right, Danny, you go.
Okay. So Trav went in an facet in an order that he basically said the tip and then he gave why. I might be doing the opposite, just FYI. I might give a story.
Are you going to give the story?
And the answer to that is yes.
Okay. I might. I'm going to.
And so my story starts out as once upon a time, I was dating a girl in high school.
Wrote the stories down.
No, I just wanted to say once upon a time, I was dating a girl in high school. So at this point in my life, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember this for a fact, I'm pretty sure that I remember learning a business concept that I thought was revolutionary because...
It's called pyramid schemes.
No, that was a little bit later in life. But
Which
I learned
one?
the concept of... Let's save that for another episode. All right? What pyramid schemes have you been involved in? And I'm like, I have 47.
You're going to be the only one.
So I learned the concept of
His answer is all
differentiation, right? So like I was like, oh, that's the coolest concept. Like, yeah, if I want my product to stick out or my business to stick out, I got to be a little different than everyone else because that's what's going to sell, right? So start dating this girl in high school. She's cool. I like her a lot. Well, I go up and after we go on a date one night, I go up to walk her up to the porch. But this whole time I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, how am I going to approach this like first kiss, but in like a way that she'll remember?
Already?
I was a whore. So I don't know if you guys remember. You guys probably remember this, but then I don't know if any of you listeners will remember this. But there's a movie that came out when I was in late elementary school or something like that called The Sixth Man with Marlon Wayans.
Yes.
Basic premise is
I love that movie.
Yeah, he's brothers. He and his brother are really good at basketball. They're both playing for the Washington Huskies college basketball team. His brother ends up with like a heart issue or something when they're playing, and he ends up dying. And so now he has to continue on, and it's like, you know, it's super sad. It's one of the couple movies that made me cry when I was growing up.
It's a comedy.
The Sixth Man and Lion King made me cry, okay? Because when his brother dies, it's so sad.
Sure you're not thinking about Above the Rim that made you cry?
Yeah, that one didn't make me cry. It was Sixth Man when his brother died. Okay, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, there's that movie. Well, there's a scene in that movie where Marlon Wayans really likes this girl, and he's taking her back to her place after their date, and he wants to give her a kiss. Well, his brother's spirit always pops up, right, throughout the movie. So his brother's spirit just keeps popping up, like, right in front of him when he's trying to kiss this girl, and he's like, he can't do it. So he starts doing these cool, like, little spin moves.
Yeah, I remember. He spins in hers and just kisses
and then
her.
kisses her on the cheek.
Did
and
you
then he
spin and kiss?
Spins the other way, and then gives her a kiss on the cheek, and then eventually, like, he spins and gives her a kiss on the lips, I think, or something like that. So I'm like, I'm totally gonna do that move where I'm gonna do a 360 spin and then give her, and then plan a kiss, and like it'll be super memorable because I'm sure like most people don't do 360 moves before.
The next day, she's gonna go to her friends and be like, "He did this weird spin." And then kissed me.
And then she'd be like, it was so hot.
No. So hot. Woo!
So, yeah. So anyway, get up there. You know, you're super nervous because, I was like in high school, and still, let's be honest, I was never very smooth with the ladies until now. But, so I go, I'm like, all right, it's time. I do my little spin move. Well, I took my spin a little bit too wide. And next thing I know, I spun right off the porch and into their hedges. And so
She's just like, are you having a seizure? Are you okay?
When you were laying in there, you're like, no, I don't want to say this. I was going to say, you need to trim your bush.
that would have been a clever quip. But I did not say that. I was just like, oh, God. And then I think really what I was thinking was, I don't think I'm going to get a kiss tonight. So
Yeah, because you probably got out and you had like a bunch of these scratches on your face.
And she's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Yeah. But anyway, so
You have scratches all over. You get home and you're Her dad's like, "What happened to you?" I was trying to kiss a girl.
And
Like,
instead, I
we're
ended
not
up-
going to hear from the cops, are we?
But anyway, so tip number 1. Always be aware of your surroundings.
Okay.
That's the dating tip.
Because if you're going to do spin moves, make sure you have plenty of room to do a spin move.
Why couldn't you just say, "Don't do a spin move"? Because he's encouraging the spin moves.
I would like
do the spin
someone
move,
to pull off the
just
spin move.
make sure that there
have
are
plenty of room, and
plenty
you're not
of room
going to just
do
fall
it.
off a porch and into bushes.
All right. Okay, Alan, what do you got?
All right. So I'll start, I guess, telling the story too.
All right, that's the cool way to do it.
All right. So I was dating a girl once upon a time. And
Man, he's stealing all my good stuff.
this was like a month or two after we started dating that we went to a party. And we were having some drinks. And I guess there was this one guy that was just like complimenting my girlfriend all the time. Just like kept complimenting her. And I was like cool with it. I was like, yeah, that's true. She does have a nice ass. And I was just like completely relaxed. Just like, yeah, that's all right, cool. And like in my head, I was like, and that's my girlfriend. So yeah, I agree. You know, nothing bad in my head. But later that night,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you very much, sir. That sounded like Brendan
I'm sure your
Fraser.
girlfriend is
anything-
nice too.
if anything, it was making me feel good because I was like, I'm dating this girl, and he thinks that she's super hot. And then later that night, she got super pissed off at me. And I was like, what's going on? What? And she's like, you don't even care about me. Like, you don't show any jealousy at all. This guy was like all hitting on me all night and everything, and you didn't even care. like you didn't even get in his face or anything. You didn't threaten to fight him. And I was like, I don't fight.
I was in no shape to fight. First off,
I was like, I'm not gonna fight somebody. Just
Like, what am I
just
gonna
'cause
fight?
They compliment you. Like, well, what?
I'm gonna fight a guy if he's telling the truth.
Yeah, we're civilized people here. But because before that, I had no reason to ever be jealous. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not a crazy person. Jump to a couple years later. This was kind of like one of my significant relationships. Got cheated on, and after that, super jealous.
Yeah, that probably did.
We were in like the little like month phase after where I was like trying to forgive her and we were trying to work it out, but super jealous. So I probably went over the top with the jealousy and like being like, where are you? Like texting her all the time. And anyways, long story short,
Like Lisa go to the bathroom. You're like, where'd you go? Taking a dump, Alan.
so yeah, it's funny because I was thinking back like at that, like she was on me for not being jealous enough, and now I'm too jealous. Like, what does this girl want? But so my dating tip was be just the right amount of jealous. Be
So
jealous
kind of like
enough that they know you
Goldilocks and
care.
the Three Bears.
Yeah.
Not too jealous, not jealous enough, but just
Yeah, show them they care with being just a little bit jealous, but don't overdo it and be creepy and crazy.
Well,
Suffice
that's
it to
good.
say that relationship did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, she's not here, so we're gonna assume that. But
It's a good assumption.
that's a good tip, Al. All right, we'll move on to my next one. So my next tip, and I'm just gonna keep with the format that I've got. I'll tell you the tip first. And that is for the ladies.
Tip usually does go first, Trev.
Yep.
But I'm doing it backwards, apparently.
What? Are you being gross?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't. Half the time, I don't know what you're talking about. So, for the ladies, it's okay to make the first move. So, looking at my notes. This one is, I look back at this and I wonder where I would be today if my wife did not make the first move. And by first move, I don't mean she literally just asked me for my number. And the whole situation was I met her in the most cliche Mormon way possible. And that was at Singles Ward.
So for anyone who's not familiar with it.
Familiar with the LDS, it's basically in the LDS church, the Mormon faith. I'm not gonna say the faith. Just once you get to a certain age, they kick you out of your normal congregation and stick you with a bunch of other single adults your age, so that they in hopes that you find yourself a mate and that you can get married and
worse
procreate.
Than that is there's regular singles ward, which is a bunch of 20-somethings running around. But then there's if you get rejected all the way through regular singles ward, you have to go to the sad singles ward.
Older singles ward.
Which is
and I don't mean to laugh, except for it does. How sad do you feel when you get to that point? It's oh man, I didn't make it through first singles ward. I got to go to second singles ward. But anyway, so I didn't want to go. Everybody that was in the singles ward were people I went to high school with, and no offense to anybody I went to high school with, because Danny, you're one of them. But I didn't care to mingle with many of them.
I'm offended.
I was fine. I wasn't in this situation. I wanted to date, but I wasn't oh man, I got to get hitched. I was 21. Well, I might have been 22. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I was super young. I was completely fine.
Almost went to high school with your wife, though.
No.
Didn't you?
When I was going into high school, she was in 6th grade, or she was going into 7th grade.
Oh wait, she's not my. She wasn't my grade.
She is.
What year did she graduate?
She graduated in 06. I graduated in 02.
Oh, okay.
And you 05?
So you were gone 2 years out of high school after once she got there. Because I got there 1 year after you left.
Mm-hmm. So I go, and the only reason why I went is because your stinking brother told our bishop to move my papers, to move my records over to the singles ward. He's like, I'm going to go. Travis is going to come with me. So why don't you move his records over too? And then he told me this. I was
you didn't even know?
I had no clue. He's like, oh yeah, your records are there now. I'm like, I didn't move them. I want to be with all the nearly deads. All those old people in there. That's where I feel that's where I feel comfortable. And so we go there, and right away I actually noticed my wife. Soon to be at that time. But other than the fact that I thought she was attractive, I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. So as soon as church was over, I booked it, and I started heading out the door, and I look back, and your brother is talking to my wife and her friend, and Steve and I rode together, so I can't go anywhere. So I was like, crap. So I go back, and I just literally stand there. I wasn't going to butt in a conversation that was already going. So I was just kind of kindly waiting. And as we're walking out, said a couple of things here and there, but not enough to where I thought oh, hey, yeah, I should ask this girl for her number or anything like that. Our conversation was literally, where do you go to school? And I said, I think this was when we were going to the DATC. Which is the technical college. And
Davis.
So it was Davis Applied Technology College.
What were you going there for?
Because we were trying to do anything but go to real school.
Yeah.
So
we're like, let's just go here and learn computers. But then
I couldn't pass the computer class.
And partially we would just leave and go to my house and just play online poker.
Yep, we did that too. And eat calzones. So anyway,
I guess that is kind of technical.
Yeah,
that's true.
Long story short, anyway, she got in a truck with her friend, and they bolted. And I was just heading to my car, thinking, all right, this is the last time I'm pretty much going to see that person. Although your brother did turn to me and he goes, I get the brown hair girl. And I want to be like, number one, Steve, like, I don't think you get to choose. Just like, like, what if she doesn't choose you too? Like, I'm fine with the blonde, but I don't think that's our choice.
That's how singles ward works, Trev.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're heading to the car, and then all of a sudden they circle around in the truck, and my wife sticks her head out the window. She goes, hey, she's like, I didn't get your number. I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to give it, but here you go. So give it to her. She's like, I'll text you later so you can have my number. I'm thinking like literally like right after they leave, she's going to be like, hi, this is Quincy. No, she waited and waited and waited until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And back then, like I was like still I was going to bed earlier. It's like tired all the time.
The count's that changed.
No, it hasn't changed. I'm just even more tired now. But like my phone goes off at 1 in the morning. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I look at it. And she's like, this is Quincy. And I was like, what the? Anyway, long story short, I invited her to go on a date. 2 days later, we ended up hanging out every day after that, basically until marriage. So
and in your head, you were like, you wait 1 day to text me. I wait just 2 days.
Well,
to
I
text
just
you
wasn't.
back.
I just wasn't into the whole texting thing yet because this is back like when you still had to like hit the number three times. Yeah,
for a C.
Yep. But anyway, so had she not said anything, I don't know if, who knows what would have happened. So it's okay, ladies. Like the men, if we're really talking about equality now,
I'd be fine with that. I think women,
the ladies can make the first.
Yeah, it should be very fair that they can make the first move too.
Which means that it's also okay if you pay sometimes. Just offer. I'm sure we'll be okay with it. So anyway, go ahead, Danny.
Okay. So my tip number 2 that we'll start with a story begins with once upon a time, I was dating a girl when I was just out of high school. So if you can see, I've progressed.
Do you say any of their names? Is it because
Nope.
you're afraid they're listening?
Well, we have lots of listeners.
We have 5. And one of them you're married to, and one of them I'm married to. And so
I think there's 6 now. But anyway. All right. So when I was this age in high school, Trav probably remembers this because he had to witness it. But I was kind of a hopeless romantic at this age. Would you say that is
more
correct,
on
Trav?
the hopeless. Just we'll throw that out there.
So really high on the hopeless, little lower on the romantic, but I put them together. So I was like a super high hopeless romantic, right? Okay. I don't know why I just did the high voice on that, but anyway. So the thing is, I was dating this girl at this time, and I was convinced at 18, because you don't know any better, I was just like, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to marry this girl. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create this list, this bucket list. So what it was a list of 100 different ways that I was going to kiss this girl throughout our lives.
You just did this on your own time?
Yeah, he did. He's probably a part of his creative writing class.
You pop up out of bed and be like, I know what I'm going to do today.
I'm going to write 100 ways to get.
So some highlights.
If anything ever happens to a girl I'm dating, I won't look like a serial killer.
At 18, you don't think about that. So some highlights on this list that I can remember are I knew that I wanted to kiss her underwater at some point. So I was like, yeah, we'll go swimming or something, and then I'll kiss her like underwater.
Did you guys see the second It movie?
No.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where they kiss underwater, and I remember leaning over to my wife at that moment, and I was like, that would give me so much anxiety. Like, I'd be like, not worried about the kissing. I'd be like, I don't have air. Like, how long do I have to be down here before I can go up there? Like, am I going to look like a wuss if I break first and go up and get some freaking oxygen?
You're just trying to
It's
suck
probably
the air
a lot
out of her
harder
lungs.
in real life than they make it look in the movies.
But now that you mention this, I do want to say one thing, that it was a goal of mine in high school to make out with somebody and then push play and have it start singing. You wanna kiss the girl? Sha la 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 la.
Yeah, that would have been awkward.
But this list of 100 ways to kiss a girl is not. So
This is just cool. All right. So another one was I wanted to do the quote unquote mile high kiss, but like kiss on an international flight somewhere so that we could have experience under the water and in the air. And then another one was to kiss so passionately that sparks would fly.
Literal?
I know where this
Literally?
is going.
And Trav and Alan know the story, so they know where it's going.
Oh, okay.
So, not being one to procrastinate, of course, I get right on this list. And I'm like looking for every opportunity I can to start crossing these things off the list of 100 places to kiss or ways to kiss or whatever. So, a couple days later, I find myself.
You come up with 100.
Trav, when I put my mind to something, I get super dedicated to it. You should know that. You should see my notes. Do you think 100 is that hard for me? It probably did take a better part of a day, though.
He comes home from a date and he just has like seaweed stuck to his shoe. The cops are there with him in handcuffs. His dad's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Apparently he attacked a woman and pushed her into a pond."
First of all, it was supposed to be this specific girl. It wasn't like I was going around town just attacking women in various spots.
It's not really about the specific woman as much as it is about the kiss. Doesn't matter. I'm going to kiss a girl up in a tree. Get on up there. What are you doing? I got to kiss you in a tree.
Again. He's trying to hoist her up in a rope. So again, the cops show up with them in handcuffs. Like, what do you do now? We caught him trying to hang a woman in a tree.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in these cases, they would not just be dropping him off at his front porch.
Dude,
Every
the fact
time,
he's still a
every time
minor.
I get dropped off, all I say is just a random 2-digit, like 72. Okay, so anyway, back to the story. So a couple days later, I find myself in her, because at the time she lived with her parents, so I find myself downstairs in the basement, in her parents' basement, and they're actually, most of it was finished, but they were finishing like this back portion that had not quite been finished yet, and part of that was a bathroom. So I don't know why and how we ended up in there. We were just hanging out talking, and I look over and I can see that they have not covered the sockets yet. They had just done the wiring, and so I'm like, you know what? And I don't really even know. At this point, I probably wouldn't even chance it again. But I looked down and I was like, I'm pretty sure that my shoes have rubber soles on them.
Oh, yeah, that's going to
So-
stop all the current.
I will ground myself. So I put my finger in the socket.
I don't think that's how grounding yourself works.
And then, but luckily, like I could feel like a little buzzy tingle, but like nothing like bad. So I was like, okay, this seems to be working.
I'm
like
just going to touch this
this live
cable
wire.
hanging over the street and into my house. I have rubber shoes. I think that.
And if you were really trying to ground yourself so the electricity just passed through you harmlessly, you're not going to get sparks. You need resistance for that.
And so at the time, so then I called my girlfriend over. And I was like, hey,
Did she know about this list?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she did.
Okay.
I told her about the list. And so I'm like, hey, you want to see if sparks fly when we kiss? And she's like, yeah, okay. So she comes over. And then, if you want to say, I'm sure it happened very quickly, but in my head, it was like super slow-mo. We like lean in.
And it's got, I know this, my chance to. And then you kiss. And then this is what I picture.
I thought you were going to sing some kind of like AC/DC song, Get it? AC/DC
AC/DC.
current. But anyway. So.
Oh, Daniel.
So as soon as our lips touched, the grounding of my rubber soles apparently quit working. And the electricity shot through my body, out my lips, and right into hers. And it was like the most painful, just like burning sensation. Just like, and like, yeah, she jumps back, I jump back. Luckily, no like long-term harm was done, but I at least, got my kiss with a spark.
I don't think it was a spark. It
So
was
I
just
could cross it off my list.
my fingers numb, my lips are numb, my tongue is numb. Was it good for you too?
Then I just like pull out a sheet of water paper from my back pocket and I just get out of bed like 57. 57.
57.
Done.
That was so great.
Later that night, Danny shows back up at home with the cops and he's handcuffed. His dad's like, what do you do now? Apparently he tased a girl and tried to make out with her.
I so badly want to see this list.
So anyway, tip number 2. Don't look for a literal spark in a new relationship.
Okay. Alan, did you have another one or?
I don't know.
It's all right.
It was just don't ever agree to a break in a relationship.
Well, that actually kind of. So I have 2 more. I'll tell you. Well, I'll give you my third, and then the last one doesn't really have a story to it. It has a story to it, but I can't tell it. Only Danny can. So
Okay, I'll do my best.
anyway, so my tip number 3.
So you're doing your tip number 3, then I'll do my tip number 3, then we'll jump back to your final.
Yep.
Okay.
And that'll be it. So, and this one will be a little bit quicker. But if you, now this isn't necessarily you on the date. Let's say you want to set your friend up on a date with somebody else. If you are setting your
setting them
friends
up on a blind date.
Yeah, if you are setting your friend or friends up, make sure both parties are interested. Do not be sneaky and lie to your friend.
Are you referencing me, Trav?
Danny will know what I'm talking about.
For the first little bit there, I was like, what kind of jerk did that? Wait, I think that was me.
Yeah. All right. So this same girl that Danny was trying to electrocute, they had been dating for a while, and this girl had a friend that, I mean, she was a nice person. I mean, I liked her as far as we hung out a little bit, because we ran in the same crowd. But as far as like a romantic interest, there was zero spark on my side.
Well,
Pun
because you
intended.
didn't stick your finger
Pun
in the socket.
intended.
You're
Okay.
missing a crucial
I don't know
ingredient.
if there was even one on her side either. I don't know. Maybe, can you tell me? Was there one?
Well, which friend are you talking about?
Do you want me to say it out loud?
Just say the first letter of the name.
L.
Oh, okay. I don't. I mean, not like a major one. I mean,
Okay, so there was no reason for either of us to really be dating, except for the fact that Danny wanted to hang out with me, his girlfriend wanted to hang out with her friend, and so they just thought, well, this makes sense.
Did we go to like a haunted house?
Matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a fine, catch me a catch. So this particular time, so I had already gone out on a date with this girl, I think. Because you guys were like, well, and I don't think it was like meant to be like an actual date. It was more like a hangout or like a group thing. But I think I ended up paying for her anyway because I believe Danny said, well, let's go out on a date. I'll help you pay for her because, you know, it's not a real date. And then he never helped me. So I ended up just paying for her. So,
well, I meant help you as in like help you get your wallet out and count the cash.
Oh, okay. But so he knew my feelings and that but I think at that point I was a junior or I don't know, it could have been even a senior in high school. And I think I was feeling a little lonely. I think and I have another story that I debated on telling. I'm not going to tell it now, but basically there was this girl that I was interested in. I messed up and I missed my chance. And then your freaking brother swooped in and took her. Steven. What? So because of that, I think I was
girl's name start with a C.
K.
Okay.
But anyway, so I think I was feeling like really bad about myself. And so Danny's like, all right, well, I'm going to set him up. And
what a good friend
He
I
kept
am.
telling me, because I was like, it can't be the same girl. And he's like, it's not. I promise. It's not. And I was like, well, what's her name? It's a surprise. and this was like maybe like a week ahead. So like every day. Well, I think at first he was like, well, my girlfriend hasn't told me her name yet. I was like, okay. Oh, can you ask her anytime? He's like, yeah, I'll ask her. I'll let you know. So every day I'd ask him. We'd like go to lunch or whatever. I'd be like, hey, did you ever find out what her name is? Oh no, I forgot. I'll find out.
Why do I sound like Keanu Reeves?
I don't know because it's so stupid. And I blame myself for being so naive. But I knew in my head, I'm like, he's freaking lying to me. Like, but then there was this little tiny smidgen of hope that maybe it was a different girl that I didn't know, and she was freaking gorgeous, and we're gonna fall in love. It was gonna be great. And then it came down to the day. He didn't tell me till the day. We're going to pick them up. And he's like, Trav, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, and I said her name. I was like, it's Elle, isn't it? And he's like, how'd you know? I'm like, because I'm not stupid. So we ended up going like to it was the haunted forest.
Yeah, because I know we had to drive clear. I mean, from where we were to where this is like almost an hour drive.
45 minutes, yeah. So we're going and I'm pissed like the whole time just because of, I don't think it was necessarily because I was with her. It was more that I was just deceived by this man here to my left. And so I'm just sitting there and not a single thing scared me because I was about to rip heads off. And meanwhile, my date's over there just cowering in a corner, and anytime somebody just looked at her, she's like, ah! And Danny looks at me as he's like cuddling his girlfriend and just holding her tight, and he goes, Trav, go save her. So I just go, I go up to the guy who's just kind of pinned her in a corner, and he's like scaring her. I was like, leave her alone. I was like, Elle, come on. So anyway, so
here's a part of the story you probably don't know. So
I would be interested to know.
Originally, it was not supposed to be Elle. It was supposed to be a different girl.
Okay.
And I believe my girlfriend was working on that all week, but just never could get it to come to fruition. And so at the very end, we just like...
So you could have just said, it didn't work out.
Yeah, that would have been easier.
Again, do not mean to put down the fact that it was, her that it was. I think it was really more the situation. But
no, like you said, she was a really cool girl. But just if you don't have that spark, you just don't have that spark.
All right, what's your number 3?
All right. So, numero tres, I will again start with the story. This story starts with once upon a time.
They all start with once upon a time.
I was married to a girl. That's my wife. She was pregnant at the time with my beautiful daughter, London. And I walked into the bedroom where she was just reading. And she was, propped up. She had her like a pillow behind her back and her head back, kind of leaning against the wall. And just reading her book with just her little reading lamp on, right? Mm-hmm. So go in there and I'm just like kind of overcome with the whole like, this is so cool. Like I have my wife here that I love and she's like, we're about to have like a daughter. And it was like at this point, like because I already have a son from a previous relationship. So I really did want a daughter, like to experience that, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm all excited about it. And so I kind of get to the point where I'm like, you know what? I really should just kind of go over to her and just whisper some sweet nothings into her ear so that she can just really understand how I feel and my gratitude and my love for her. So I go over to her, I look her in the eyes, and I apparently whispered, "You look like Quasimodo."
Why would you say that?
Needless to say, this didn't go over as well as I had hoped.
What did you think was going to happen? Excuse me, love of my life. You look like a hideous hunchback. I love you. How did you think that was going to end?
He thought it was a sweet nothing because as soon as he said it, she said, "What?" And he went, "Nothing."
That's a good one. Sweet nothing. I said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, she looked at me with the glare of 1,000 suns and screamed, "What the hell are you thinking?" Or what the hell is wrong with you?
I think we're all wondering that right now. Are you going to elaborate? Or are you just going to leave it at the fact that I just went and told my pregnant wife in the most vulnerable moment of her life that she looks like a hideous hunchback?
Is there another Quasimodo you know of?
So she said no. First she's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, then now I'm scrambling because I'm like, I got to explain myself." Because one of my problems is I forget to like fully explain what's going through my head. And then I just say something at the end and then realize that the person has no idea what I'm talking about and why I just said what I said. So I try to explain to her. I'm like, I just saw you there. You look so cute. Like just reading your book.
I love Quasimodo.
But what had happened is the way that she was kind of like leaned back on the pillow / whatever, it pushed her shirt up in the back. Her collar popped up and it kind of looked like a hump. So I was just trying to like let her know it's kind of cute, but like she looked like Quasimodo because of this little humpy little thing on her back. So anyway, long story short, I was cast out of the bedroom that night. Forced to sleep on the couch. But the good news is we're still married.
Liz, I'm so sorry. Forgive him, for he knows not what he does.
So tip number 3 is not all Disney characters are created equally.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, your tips are not going how I thought they would. But all right, well, here's the last one. And you'll probably have to elaborate a little bit. And I can't remember exactly whose idea it was to do this. But so my final tip is, don't just get back together with an ex because your buddy is, and it would be cool to do it at the same time. So I know this is between you and Travis Mydell, that both of you had girlfriends. You guys both had broken up. And one of you was like, I'm getting back together with my girl. And the other one was like, That would be cool. I'm going to do that too. Forgetting how miserable they were.
That's just a classic case of group think right there, you know? You just start, I don't know, but that is like a weird situation where, have you ever noticed that though, where sometimes you'll get out of a relationship with a girl or whatever, and when you think back though, sometimes all you can remember is the fond memories for brief periods of time, and you're like, why did I ever break up with this girl? Other times all you can think of is the horrible memories, but
I don't know exactly. I think it was you that originally was getting back together with your ex, and then
Trav wanted to do the same.
Trav wanted to do the same.
I know, like, we went to their houses.
I remember I tagged along because I was like, I have to see this. So I just stayed in the car as you guys approached their.
I remember Trav's more than I remember mine because I remember you and I were like singing the song that Alan wished he could push play for.
Oh, were we?
Because we
so
like
lame.
cracked.
you see her.
We cracked the windows down a little bit on the car, and we're like, "Sha la 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 la,
Wow.
don't be scared."
Sitting there across the way.
Dating tip number 8. Do not sit in a car and
Watch your friends
sing Little Mermaid while your friend tries to get back together with his
She don't got a lot.
ex-girlfriend.
There's something about her.
Anyway, well, hopefully you can take this advice and use it if you are dating. Do not stick your fingers in sockets and kiss at the same time.
Be careful what Disney characters you compare your significant other to.
Do always
Be
remember
jealous.
their name. Be jealous, but just
not
the right
too
amount of jealous. So, anyway, we thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you'll be, like I said, hopefully you'll be able to use some of this. If not, well, it was interesting to listen to these stories anyway.
Maybe, Trav, what you could do at some point is just like post like the however many tips we ended up having on the show just in one like post.
I can do that. We'll see
Post it in one post.
We'll see how that goes. But
we have to come up with find that list and we'll make a post of 100 ways to kiss the girlfriend.
Well, I'm sure
if you
tore
can
it up after.
If you can rack your brain and just try and figure out majority of them, I would love to know more. But and we should seriously like
Maybe
film
that's what
little videos of Danny just trying to accomplish these things, but with random people, and have him show up at the doorstep with handcuffs every time. Son's getting a little rapey.
like a drive by kissing or something like that.
Just like headbutts out the window.
The next day, we went to the dentist.
Anyway, all right. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We release these episodes every Friday, and then, of course, we have our Dream-isodes that are really not related to this actual, to our regular episodes, but they are fun to do. So that's where Danny dreams and we read them out loud. So those are released on Mondays. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at QCode Podcast. And then you can also visit our website at www.qcodepodcast.com. Check us out on YouTube and make sure you subscribe. And that should be it. Well, sorry. If you enjoy this, please give us a review. Rate us 5 stars. We would really like it. So, thanks again, and we will catch you next week.